I know exactly what he can do, and now I just try to start imposing my will on him. And you know, second was close, but then I took it out in the third, and obviously got the finish.
And I think you had like a darts choke at some point and a couple other submissions. We couldn't really tell from the angles or anything, but was there any submission in there that you thought like, oh, I got him, and then he kind of popped out?
That one darts a little bit for a second, and I was like, it's not quite where I want it to be. It's towards the end of the round. You can hear him gargling a little bit, but then the angle changed. I was like, it's not quite there. My coach actually told me between rounds, and he was telling me before the fight, but it's so hard to break, stop going for submissions. With this guy, he's a Brazilian. He's not going to want you to sub him out. He's not going to want some little American white kid to, take his, his sport, his, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He doesn't want me to out Brazilian jiu-jitsu him. He's not going to let me sub him, which was an excellent adjustment for my coach to have me do. And I, shifted to more of the going for a TKO. I felt him starting to kind of fall back, and he was like, "Hey," my coach was like, "Hey, put the pressure on him, keep going," and I did it to the finish, and I'm really happy.
And finally, a lot of what's made online, people were posting photos like your first fight and now, and they think you filled out, like you just put on more muscle. So did you feel any bigger or stronger in there?
100%. My contender fight, I think I cut water weight from 149. I was crazy undersized. I remember that was my first time ever making 145. I was like, are you sure? Like when Sean Shelby sent the contract for contender, I was like, are you sure you want me to do featherweight? I'm a lightweight. I had all my fights at lightweight, and I was walking around at like 160, 165. So, the puberty setting in. I was 18 then, I'm 22 now. This is 4 more years of growth, and the testosterone's starting to pick up. You can see I got a little bit of stubble. I shaved this morning for you guys, but getting that 2:30 a.m. shadow going. But I'm definitely filling out a lot more for 45. So I was talking to my boy Christoph here about going to the PI and seeing whether or not I need to stay at 45 or whether I should look at moving up. It's just hard because you don't want to go up too early or you don't want to stay for too long. Neither one of those are a good idea.
Jason.
Oh.
Go ahead. Man, you were violent tonight. What was that about?
Well, I really, everything I've done for this fight camp, I've been like, if this were to be my last fight ever, I'd want to do everything perfect. And that was flying across the country to go train with Wonder Boy twice this camp. It's getting those striking looks, getting the wrestling looks, really pushing the pace in the gym with my guys at Combat Sport and Fitness, having them push me back, and you just kind of building everybody up, using the PI for the dieting, and just everything just locked into place perfectly tonight. My hand wraps felt perfect. Tate wasn't supposed to be on the list for people to wrap hands. I was like, I just have it. Whoever Tate walks in, I'm like, oh, this is a good night. I love it when he wraps my hands. He does a great job. The weight cut went easier than expected. The dieting went easier than expected. I felt fantastic in the warm-up. Everything really locked in for me tonight, and it's just hoping that happens every time, and just knowing that even if it doesn't, I still have the skill set. But that stuff just kind of further builds your confidence and your ability that things are moving in the right direction, and to just kind of keep pressing forward. And that's all I did. Just keep taking that step forward each time.
How does it feel to be the first man to finish Corrales?
It's always good, not even necessarily just to finish. It's always nice to finish a guy that's never been finished, and to be able to retain that myself. But to be able to say that I, have grappled against a really high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Judo black belt, and I was able to win those exchanges. I had a grappling match against Renato Moicano back in January. That was a huge confidence builder for me. Obviously I didn't win, but I went in there with one of the best to do it. A guy that's gone against so many high-level grapplers. He fought the who's who at 145. And to feel like I was able to hang with him in the grappling, really built a lot of confidence when you're from, small town Enumclaw. I'm not from some mega gym. I started with the same coach at 8 that I'm here with today, so it feels good.
that this was your first fight on a fight night and not a pay-per-view. Do you think you're going to get put back on pay-per-view?
I really like these Apex shows. They're so mellow. Being one of the first fights too, I could care less. The nice thing is, with these fight nights, it gives you a better chance for a bonus. I try not to put too much stock into it. I'm just taking the fights as they come. I'd fight if there were 100,000 people watching. I'd fight if there were 100 people watching. I'd fight if it was just Dana watching. I feel like I'm kind of leveling up in the mental aspect of it, and not letting that stuff bother me too much.
Two happens for me. This is random, but do you like that you're not the youngest fighter on the roster anymore?
There was a while where I was like, had that as a point of pride, but now I think of it more as like, that's an excuse. It's like, being the younger guy, like, it's like, I lost because I was younger, that type of thing. It's really coming in my own and realizing that I'm here for my skill set, not just for my age. And that's, I have to fight these guys that are in their prime, so I gotta stop making excuses for myself. I gotta train harder if I have to make up for those little advantages that they have. But I feel like I'm doing a good job of it so far.
And your buddy Booger Beard got an article written on UFC.com. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Unfortunately, he knows where I live right now. He's been over to my house, so he might be there right now. Who knows? He's a great guy, though. You always love seeing these people that put out positive stuff. You always love seeing them get the wins. He's a great dude. I met up with him a couple times in person. Met up with him down here in Vegas. And I wish nothing but the best for him. And if we play our cards right, I might be getting to hang out with him for International Fight Week or something. And we'll see.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
It's crazy. You still look so young and baby-faced, even though like you said, you had the stubble that you had to shave off earlier. You mentioned filling out and sort of becoming, I guess, more of a man, but also recently, as of last year, you've been married now, and how much is that, and eating good food with the wife, how much has that, filled you out a little bit, eating good home cooking, and how much has that strengthened you as a fighter as well, having that?
It's kind of ironic, is I'm the stay-at-home husband here. She's the one working. She's been picking up the slack a little bit in these past 11 months, and I'm really thankful for that. I had her here for the fight week. It was great. She's been with me since before my contender fight. She's been a huge support for me, and I love her and I appreciate it.
I love the emotion that you're feeling right now. Is that just, what is that? Is that just because you have a partner, or what is it about that? I hate to put you, but I love seeing the emotion when you talk about your partner.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's nice to have someone to rely on and to, come home to. This is a really chaotic sport, and, win, lose, or draw, I have somebody to see me when I get back from this. So, I'm happy.
That's awesome. And, you kind of talked about, you felt like you earned your spot on the roster with this. Is that something just mentally or internally that you've been carrying around, that you thought that, and why is that? Do you feel that you maybe got pushed up into the spotlight, that you weren't worthy of that, or why do you feel like now you earned your spot on the roster?
I think everybody has that imposter syndrome, especially here in the UFC. Like my last fight, I'm walking around, bumping elbows with Damian Maia, Izzy, all these crazy high-level guys, Max Holloway, and it's, it's crazy to be like, I'm one of their coworkers. Like, it's hard to, put yourself on the same level as them and be like, I belong among these guys, and, I feel like I show that to myself, which is kind of what matters, and, it's the bosses that are going to keep giving me fights, so I'm happy.
And that might kind of lead into the other thing that you had said, how you realized you needed to do this for yourself and not for anyone else. When did that realization come in, and does that kind of piggyback off what you were just sort of saying?
Yeah, it's like the imposter syndrome. It's like what are other people thinking about me? It's like, it doesn't matter, My life doesn't change whether I win or lose outside. My teammates will still think highly of me, my coaches, my wife. So that doesn't change, but it's like, I want to see what I can do. With the weight cut of the fights, I gain more respect for myself and more self-confidence when I'm able to kind of accomplish these great triumphs and tribulations, and just prove that I am who I think I am.
That's awesome. I guess last one, being the stay-at-home spouse, what's your go-to dish that you make for your wife?
I love curries. She does not so much. Spaghetti is a big one. I was actually getting really into making bread for her while I was dieting. It was just, it takes so long to do. So I was making her some sourdough. She probably don't like it, but, something for me to do instead of just, staring at the clock waiting to eat again. So, I'll make whatever. I made some homemade tortillas I'm going to enjoy when I get home. And, gonna have some tacos. It's going to be a good time.
So you make lots of carbs and breads and stuff when you're cutting weight, huh?
Oh, for sure. I like seeing other people enjoy food when I can. I'll take my girl out to dinner, get her something nice, make her something, and it helps with the weight cut on my end for some reason.
That's awesome. Congrats on the victory.
Thank you.
We're good. Perfect. Thank you very much.